I got another one. Quick shout out to Amber and everyone at Pit Barrel Cooker. Thank you for hooking this up. Really appreciate it. Super excited to try it. It seems like such an interesting way to cook. This is a barrel smoker. It's noticeably different than an offset smoker or a kind of like the traditional indirect way of cooking and smoking meats. This is a vertical setup, so the coals and the heat source and the fire and the smoke are right at the bottom of the barrel. And then you hang everything from the top of the barrel down. And the idea is that as like ribs and pork cook and their fat drips down, it hits the fire and the coals. It sort of infuses the smoke with this porkiness that then rises back up to flavor the meat. Very interesting, never tried it. So we're gonna unbox this guy, see what's in it. We've got a rack of spare ribs that we're gonna season and smoke, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. And today we're just gonna play around. I'm relatively new at barbecuing and smoking meats over fire. Everything I'm doing right now is basically a learning process. So I'm trying to show you the whole process. So let's get started. Hook me up with some rubs, give them a shot. Making my own today though. Top. This is the box that comes with the handle for the top, and they also give you a screwdriver. Here are all the hooks to hang the meat, a little wrench, and all the stuff to install the top horseshoe handle to the lid. This is the base that the barrel sits on. Got some grill grates. You don't have to hang. You can also just use grill grates, which is nice. This doesn't look like it comes with it. I feel like this is an added attachment that they've included. Something that kind of helps cleaning the ash out of the bucket at the end easier. So we'll check that out. These are cool. These are hanging hooks. They can allow you to kind of stick a chicken or a turkey on here and have it sit upright. Pretty handy if you're doing that kind of thing. Another turkey hanger. Heat resistant gloves, but I do need them. Comes with another mini chimney starter. This is like the appropriate size, I guess, for how many coals you need to use to start this guy. Nice cover. I don't think a lot of this stuff comes with it. If you're gonna buy it, you might have to buy all this stuff if you want it. So this is what that ash trap would be for. You kind of connect it down here. So when you pull up the ashes, you can easily clean it instead of them falling into the bottom of your pit barrel. Almost forgot about the most important thing. The hangers that actually also help regulate the temperature. And then they have this thing that can sort of help pick up hot hooks. One thing to note is that this thing doesn't really have a top vent or any sort of thermometer. The way that you regulate it is with this kind of valve here. So they say like if you're at sea level, kind of crack it to about right here. The higher you are above sea level, the more you kind of crack it open. So I'm just gonna leave it about there. And these guys, the rods that come in there, you actually, even if you're not gonna use them, you need to keep these in because they actually regulate the temperature of the smoker. My feeling is that this smoker, based off of the instructions on how to light it and the amount of coals that you add and whatnot, I think it just regulates a certain temperature range, and you don't have to worry too much about it being too high or going too low. So if you want to smoke at like 225, you might have a little bit harder of a time. So just some things to note about this guy. I think we can get started. I just went through this whole process, explained it to the camera, but it wasn't recording. So let me tell you what I did. This is the charcoal basket. Filled it up with some Kingsford Blue, about level to the rim of this grate. About 2 handfuls out and put them into the chimney to get them started. When these are hot, I'm gonna pour all of them into the basket, put the basket into the barrel smoker, put the hanging bars in, and then bring it up to temperature. And then we'll be ready to smoke. So we're gonna start off inside. This is a pork spare rib. I'm gonna prep it real quick. I'm gonna season it, let it sit for a little while the smoker is coming to temperature. Generally, you could just smoke this guy. I'm training to be in a barbecue competition one day, so. I kind of wanna remove this meat, because that'll just get in the way. So now we have like a nice even rack of rib. So let's put this aside for a second, make a simple dry rub, get it on there, and then we can head back outside and get this thing going. So So the idea here is I'm gonna basically divide the rub into two types of rubs. One is a seasoning rub, primarily like salt, pepper, and things to just make sure the pork is properly seasoned. And then add a barbecue spice rub with all of those barbecue flavors. Maybe half of that in pepper. Tablespoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of onion powder. Now you don't want to add all of this, it's a lot of salt, but you want to get a nice coating on the ribs. That should be good. Now for the barbecue spice rub. So I have mustard powder, cumin powder, chili powder, cayenne, paprika, cumin, sumac, the special player, and then brown sugar. And we could throw some white sugar in there too. I'm gonna go heavy on chili powder, a couple tablespoons to a quarter cup of this, and then about a tablespoon of everything else. So what is sumac? Looks sort of like purple paprika, but it tastes and has almost like a floral citrusy note. It's really good. Interesting. You want to get this really well incorporated. You don't want any lumps. You even use a whisk. Now this is probably too much. Cover it, keep it in a container. This is good for whenever you want to do it. So you just have your own barbecue rub made. You don't have to go to the store and buy it, although there's nothing wrong with that. And don't rub a rub in. It's a misnomer. You're not supposed to rub it. It sort of then clumps up. If you want to do anything, pat it. I'm just gonna do one more coating on the top and then I'm gonna let this guy sit. That's about it. So now I've got to hook this meat up so that it's gonna hang in the smoker. Third rib down, or maybe the second one. This stuff, just throw in some tomato sauce. So the temperature is right around 300 degrees right now, which is like a little higher than I would want. But once I put the meat in, it should drop the temperature down. If it still doesn't drop, then I'll kind of close the gate, the little vent down at the bottom a little bit more, and see if we can't drop it a little bit more to like 275. So I've got some applewood chunk, 2 of these guys in, and some mesquite as well. I like to mix woods just to play around. Cook it for about an hour, then we'll make a little baste for it. I'm projecting it'll take 3.5 to 4 hours, basting every hour or so. I'm gonna check back in a little bit, otherwise let it go. So there's sort of a new development that I need to inform you about. So I went upstairs after I threw the ribs into the pit barrel, and a new video popped up from my buddy MeatHead, the man who kindly supplied the knife for my giveaway. In the video, he was challenged by Kirby's Fish and Grill to a rib candy challenge. And MeatHead had to choose 3 other YouTubers to challenge, and he chose me as one of them. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm smoking ribs outside. I did not plan for this. The rules are I have to make a barbecue sauce and basically make ribs kind of taste like meat candy. So I have a plan. It requires us going back into the kitchen. By the way, the smoker's running at like 310, 320 degrees. So I reached out to Amber at Pit Barrel Cooker, and she said that should be fine. It runs anywhere from 285 to 320 degrees. If you're monitoring the temperature and you usually cook at a lower temperature, it's okay. The new trend is cooking high and fast. I'm not too worried about it. They're gonna come out fine. Alright, so it's been about an hour. I will say it smells particularly good. There's a unique aroma coming from the fat dripping off of the meat, which is a good sign. I make a little mop spray, basically 1 part apple cider vinegar, 1 part Worcestershire sauce, and 1 part water. and I'm just gonna spray this slightly on about every hour. So you might be wondering what's going on here. At one point, the temperature jumped to 380. So that meant to me that there was too much airflow. I don't want it that high. My strategy was to restrict the airflow to try and choke the smoke out. Can't remember who it was, so if you're watching and you see me do this, no disrespect. He used clamps to tighten the lid. Foil around the rods kind of kept the vent down at the bottom of the grill closed. As a result, the temperature dropped down and it's at 168 now. We've been cooking for almost 3 hours now, so since I was cooking it at a higher temp, I want to maybe pull it a little earlier and then wrap it. So how am I gonna make these candy? I'm gonna add brown sugar, honey, and my barbecue sauce to the bottom of the foil, and then I'm going to lay the meat side of the ribs down onto it, wrap it, some barbecue sauce, and we're gonna call it a day. It's not that I love you. It's not that I don't love. It's not. Always add the rod back in. That helps regulate the temperature. Now we're gonna let that cook another hour or so, and we should be good. So we're just at about 4 hours of cooking, but I spoke with Amber again, and she said the reason that the temperature soared so high was probably because I added thick wood chunks, which makes sense. If you're at home and you want to add wood to it, it'll probably be better if you use the little wood chips rather than a chunk of wood. So I'm gonna take them out. You double foil because single foil always breaks. That's so hot. So it worked out. You really can taste the flavor, that the fat that drips off in the smoke and comes back up. That is very evident when you eat it. Got a nuanced difference in taste as compared to other barbecue methods. So I like it. I will say it probably didn't cook it as evenly as I would have liked. The middle is a little bit less tender than the outside, but all in all, it tastes pretty good. MeatHead, thanks for challenging me. I was just gonna make a basic rib video, but I ended up making something delicious that I wasn't expecting to. Now I gotta challenge 3 of you to a rib candy challenge. I challenge Kenneth from What's New Barbecue. Love to challenge T-Roy Cooks. Watched your live stream yesterday. Think you're fantastic. Or how about Justin at Baby Back Maniac? I know you got 1,000 grills, so why don't you use one of them? Make some rib candy. I watch all you guys' videos so much and learn so much from them, so I appreciate you guys including me in all these, and I hope you guys accept my challenge. I haven't nearly figured this guy out yet. I'm still working on these. Obviously, there's ribs are ribs. Ribs are delicious. I'm trying to go for a higher bar. Thanks again for watching. I feel like a hot mess. It's just the summer is too hot already, and I just keep playing around fire. And you know, if you really like what I'm doing, why don't you share it around social media? So have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you next time.